was a really good day's fishing yesterday. It was well made up with that 32-pound common, put up an incredible fight. I haven't had a fight like that since I had a 34-pound common out of Sandhurst, but yeah, incredible. It wouldn't come in. It was a good take, pulled up to the top, straight into it. It's a deep water fight because Kingsmead's quite deep, 13, 14 feet, 15 feet, like out in front of here. It kited off to the right there, middle of the bay, and then like swam towards me. Thought that basically I had to keep up with it, so I was like reeling to keep up with it. He come in quite close to the bottom of the marginal shelf and went off on several runs before like we got him into the net. But like he was down here, you could see him in the clear water. We could see he was a good fish. Like yeah, got him in the net, 32-pound 10. So that's my first 30-pound of the year. My biggest fish on the Zig, my first fish out of Kingsmead, so I was well made up with that one. Like I say, monumental scrap. What is he, 32-pound 10? Yeah. Another plane going over as well, so that was cracking that one, 30-foot Zig.
Hold on, that's wicked. You've got good square on the tool there.
God, did that scrap? That was a monumental scrap, wasn't it, Martin?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my first one from Kingsmead, 32-pound 10, beautiful common carp. We'll just put a bit of gubbins on him before we pop him back, try and seal any wounds or anything, help with the healing of the fish, and hopefully we'll get another.
Sweet, mate.
Now, I'm a real fan of the zigging. It started for me, I was showing it over at Frimley, and a lot of the fish like used to bob up to the top in the early, like basically going through the spring. And they were in this one particular area. I remember the first time I used the Zig, I used like a big 3-ounce square inline lead and like some fluorocarbon. The hook was too big and I was using a chop down pop-up or something like that, but gradually like I've refined it. Size 10 Drennan barbel hooks, which are cracking hooks, like nice straight point, in-turned eye, nice and small. And I'm using, in this case I'm using the 8-pound Drennan double strength. Usually I use a fly leader, but I'm just using the usual brown. The fly leader comes in green, and it's a really good Zig hook length material. It's like nice and thin, nice and fine. The knot I use to attach the hook link to the hook is a Palomar knot. If you don't know how to tie that, look online, Google it, and I expect there's several instructionals showing you how to tie a Palomar knot. Anyways, I use a short air and a bit of foam on the hook, like, and that's what I got the bite on. The lead that I'm using at the moment is a 2-ounce casting lead. I mean, it's like a good weight to get out where I need to be. I'm whacking right across there, probably about kind of 2/3 of the way across, so I need a lead that can get out there. And then basically just using it on the lead clip system. Like in this case, the Corda Safe Zone lead clip, which is like a pretty good clip. I know Martin uses them all the time. So that's what I've got out there. The hook bait that I'm using is a little bit of whittled down yellow Zig foam, Gardner Zig foam, which is really good. It's really buoyant. Because the hook link's 13 feet long, basically you need something that's extremely buoyant, and foam does the job. Sometimes with the pop-ups they can take on water and not be so buoyant, so you haven't got that buoyancy which you need to get the fish. Basically with the zigging, they're seeing the zig in the middle, like we were discussing yesterday, me and Martin. They know what's what on the top, they know what's what on the bottom, they know how it behaves. You put something through that middle section of water and they don't know what it is. Now, the only thing that they can do, being a fish, is take it into their mouth to determine what it is. Now, there's a lot of debate. Should I use a flavoured bait or an unflavoured bait? They reckon that with an unflavoured bait, basically, they can't determine what it is because they can't smell it or anything. So the only thing that they can do is just take it into their mouth just to see what it is. There's a lot of debate as well. We were talking like yesterday evening about the black versus yellow. And I think, you know, the general consensus of opinion is that black works quite well at night because they reckon it provides quite a good silhouette up against the sky as the fish look up to it. Something like yellow during the daytime, like, you know, I'm a firm believer in the fish will see it and they'll snap at it. Yeah, whacked him back out there, swung him round to the right. So, I mean, it's looking pretty good. There was a lot of fish down in that bottom corner down there yesterday, and mate, he had one over there this morning, so he had his take quite early morning, about 4:30, 4:45. I think once it starts warming up, and this one's a bit of a late starter, this one, because it's so deep, once it starts warming up, they've spent most of the winter in those bottom layers, you know, quite near the bottom in that water. so that when it warms up, obviously like us, they want to benefit from the sun. So instead of relying on the fish dropping down to the bottom in amongst your bottom baits and all that, you're presenting your bait via a zig, a nicely refined zig, up in amongst the fish. So the bait, when the bait's in amongst them, you can imagine the fish being there in the upper layers or swimming along, and he sees that thing, and usually when he eats that thing that's in the middle layers, it's something that's safe. He doesn't associate it with danger like he does the bottom baits and the surface baits. It's fair game. So he'll always take it with confidence, I think. Martin and I was talking yesterday about something that's very interesting, and that's like the zigs that people put on, you know. It's like, one example is one particular chap, he showed me his zig, and it was like a lead, a sub-controller, a length of line attached to a swivel, attached to his bottom bait rig, with a bit of tubing round by the bend, size 8, you know, whatever, and a floater on it, and he was using that as a zig, and like, you ain't gonna ever catch a carp on anything like that. I wouldn't expect it. So when you're fishing with the zigs, you need to refine everything down. You don't want big hooks and big obvious baits. You want to like round it off little bits of foam and like little chop down pop-ups and nice small sharp hooks, and keep making sure that your hook point's always sharp after each fish. And a nice light line, you know, like your Drennan double strength or your Corda cruiser control or something like that. That's what Martin uses. But refine it right down and you definitely will catch fish.